place will spit you back out again. Published by Toppy in February of 2022, a paranormal team encountered real demons in this creepy place. They soon hear sounds in the abandoned building and capture voices as they continue their search. Everything is falling apart and is probably unsafe. As they look down an endless dark hallway, they hear what they think is water running. And then this scares them to attention. There's undoubtedly something in here. The question is it human? They won't be able to see it with their light off. When your recording equipment starts going haywire, that's a clear sign that the spirits don't want you here after all. And they said it's one of the scariest events in Purgatory Adventures history. The Redditor described the events as the following. We captured footsteps coming down the stairs at us. The ghost hunting team appears to be in an abandoned building of some sort. One team member sits in the middle of a mostly empty room, but keep your eye on the door in the top right. And just like that, clear as day, they hear footsteps coming from the other side of that door. Like someone is walking down some stairs.
What the f? That was like in the staircase, man.
Something tells me they're not alone in this place, but the question now is whether it's a ghost or a stranger. Which one do you think it is? Either way, I'd be staying far away from this place.
What the f? That was like in the staircase, man.
Krat explores an abandoned building on YouTube Live when his expression is interrupted by a distinctly human voice, or at least something doing their best impression of one. Eventually, Davo tracks the noise to a single room not far away. He waits for another minute, hesitant to go any further, and sees a face poke around the corner, but when he rushes in, the person is gone. A closer look at the room shows that there are no windows or doors that they could have escaped through from where they were positioned. There simply should be no way for them to disappear in the building. When he sees this dark figure through a window, it looks like a jinn. The figure quickly moves out of view.
عم بشوف اشي او بشاهد اشي يا ريت اتمنى من الجميع يا اخوان كل ابعت لي.
And when Hassan enters the room, he is gone. Hassan locks himself inside the now empty room, but it seems like something is still in the room with him. He spies something written on the wall. Is it a message from the jinn? He turns to look in this cupboard again, and the lights are again messed with, and that's not the only havoc in the room. As he looks around, he turns back to the overhanging lights, and suddenly there's a bucket covering one of them.
أنا عظيم يا اخوان. طب وين قريش؟ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When he reaches up to touch the light, it's almost like he's electrocuted. Something then obscures that everybody in India is a believer of the spirit world. Varun Kati seeks to dispel the legends behind the most haunted places in his home country. One such debunking video of him exploring some spooky abandoned buildings in the woods left him scared but still somewhat skeptical. He goes exploring the abandoned buildings one by one, whistling and taunting for any spirits to make themselves known. Less than 30 seconds later, he gets a reminder as to why provoking the paranormal is a recipe for scary things in the woods caught on camera. A loud moan rings across the treetops, a scary noise from the woods that even Varun has to admit is strange enough to give pause. He gets a really bad feeling that says it wasn't paranormal, just afraid of a wild animal or something, and he gets out of there quickly. I think this brave explorer might be unwilling to admit that he just caught strange and scary evidence of paranormal EVPs caught on tape. He says this could be a monkey, but let me know if you agree. Here's another listen. It sounds like a ghost haunting the woods to me. Either way, ghost or animal, both possibilities sound terrifying. Building in Saudi Arabia in search of a poltergeist, or a jinn as it's referred to in the area. There are many floors to explore and each one holds horrors of its own. He turns around to see a mysterious figure that could be a jinn or more likely the shadow of the banister in front of it. He continues to explore and the paranormal activity continues to stay one step ahead of him. The ghost keeps throwing objects at him, guiding him in a way towards a final confrontation that he is not ready to witness. He looks up in time to capture a glimpse of a scary round face peering down at him. Tell me what he says to it on his way out. Whatever he says seems to cause him much anger based on what happens next.
ما راح اذيك ترى بس بتكلم معاك ولا راح اسوي لك شيء. هذا ما في هذا شغل والله شيء غريب يا شغل.
He quickly leaves before the spirit becomes any more upset. Just a smudge in the window, or is this ghost watching you? Published by Korean channel Lonely Gang in July of 2019, this scary video was originally captured in August of 2013. The footage shows a cameraman walking alongside some abandoned buildings at night. The camera turns down an alleyway when up in the corner of the window, on one of the buildings is a ghostly face, staring at him.
작년 8월 19일 여름에 찍은 거죠. 부산의 모 흉가촌이죠, 흉가촌. 눈도 앙그란 총각이 저를 쳐다보고 있습니다. 흉가촌에서. 자, 저기 보이십니까?
A still shot of the window shows the creepy image up close, and it looks like a semi-transparent young man looking sideways out of the window. What is the identity of this ghost? Any guesses? All I can say is that whoever this is, it clearly wants people to stay. Derelict building in an unknown city in Mexico, live streaming the entire adventure. Just after beginning their investigation, the group ventures to the side of the building. As they come to some stairs on the side, a faint growl can be heard on the audio. None of the participants notice it during filming, but viewers were quick to point it out in the comments. It sounds either like a growl or an attempt to whisper something, but it is difficult to determine what. From here, they enter the building, which is hollowed out and falling apart. Nothing of note happens until just after the 40-minute mark of the stream. A high-pitched noise can be heard, almost like a screech or another hiss, albeit longer than the previous one heard. It's also possible that this was the sound of something rubbing against another object, similar to metal rubbing against metal. The last speculation is it could be someone breathing in, possibly one of the explorers, although nobody else seems to be around except Alfondo holding the camera, and he starts speaking before the sound goes away.
Si está bien la distancia, todo está bien.
The team decides to conduct a Ouija board session, which is not recommended for amateur explorers, by the way, to see if they can get any activity. Not long after starting, a very faint voice can be heard on the audio.
¿Hay alguien aquí?
escuchan.
No response.
It sounds as if there are words in there, but it is almost impossible to make out. The voice can be heard speaking over questions being asked. Could someone be trying to communicate? Soon they get an answer of yes on the board after being asked a question, and the board remains active for some time. When asked if it is a man, it responds no. Throughout the session, dogs can be heard barking wildly in the background. The dogs were rather quiet prior to starting the Ouija board, and now they are nearly frantic. Animals are known to be sensitive of the paranormal. Could they be distressed at what the team is doing? Or is there another explanation? In the midst of the session, by far the most bizarre event happens. Alfondo's attention is called away to a strange light manifesting on the opposite side of the building from where they are. In the opposite corner, it appears as if a flame has been lit, flickering. Suspicious others might be in the building. They call out and make their way to the area. One of the team members shows a few photos she took, and along with the glow of a fire, the windows make it appear to be daylight outside. However, the video camera always showed the windows to be dark. Furthermore, the photo camera was not using a flash, meaning it could not be a reflection. What could this mean? They decide to do a spirit box session, and instantly, the sounds the box makes sound straight out of a horror movie itself. While it is most likely caused by the rapid switching through radio frequencies, we have never heard another session sound as terrifying as this. Alfondo walks with the device to the other end of the building, and throughout hears some disturbing sounds. First, what sounds like someone wailing in distress. The most disturbing capture of the night is what sounds like a child crying out in fear or pain. It's hard to imagine what could have happened at the location, as it appears some manner of horrors still reside there, endlessly crying out in the afterlife. The place needs signs saying "Do not enter." Published in May of 2022, Hassan Barbar is searching through an abandoned building when he sees this dark figure through a window. It looks like a jinn. The figure quickly moves out of view.
بشوف اشي او بشاهد اشي يا ريت اتمنى من الجميع يا اخوان كل يبعت لي.
And when Hassan enters the room, he is gone. Hassan locks himself inside the now empty room, but it seems like something is still in the room with him. He spies something written on the wall. Is it a message from the jinn? He turns to look in this cupboard again, and the lights are again messed with, and that's not the only havoc in the room. As he looks around, he turns back to the overhanging lights, and suddenly there's a bucket covering one of them.
انا عظيم يا اخوان. طب وين القريش؟ وين القريش؟ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات.
When he reaches up to touch the light, it's almost like he's electrocuted. Something then obscures his camera. It's the bucket from the light. What is happening here? Hassan is not sure, but I suspect it's Darknet is a YouTube channel dedicated to recording abandoned locations in all of their various forms. This time the group finds themselves inside of a large building that looks to have once been a manufacturing plant of some sort. While checking out various pieces of rusted machinery, they can't shake the feeling that they are being watched. Distant phantom lights follow them and snuff out randomly. On the second floor, they come across a room that appears to be strewn with heaps of garbage and adult diapers. At one point, they come across another room containing more trash and a woman's right shoe. The left one is nowhere to be found, so perhaps there was a struggle here. If you can translate the writing on this wall, please let me know what it says and also what language it is in. It might give us some clues as to exactly what happened here, and maybe even make some sense out of what happens next. They then come across a final room on the second floor, with a dirty curtain draped across the doorway. They take a peek underneath and are greeted with a final scare.
Nice meeting you.
Listen closely again and you can hear someone screaming behind them as they pursue.
Nice meeting you.
Their wails echoing off thin corridor walls. A paranormal YouTuber in Russia who intends on exploring an abandoned cottage home in the middle of some pretty scary woods late at night. He wants to determine what kind of paranormal entities haunt this abandoned building, and he's certain he's caught creepy things on camera. He finds a room with half the walls covered in newspaper clippings. They look to have been carefully cut out and are not overlapping, which to me means they were meant to be read instead of part of a remodeling project or something like that. If you speak Russian, what do these headlines say? I can't help but suspect this is a trophy room and someone is proud of making the news.
Кто здесь?
He hears somebody cough, but nothing is there. It's creepy, but the paranormal activity really picks up when he goes exploring the haunted attic.
Убил на это. Нет, я там был. Ой, что такое может быть?
He keeps hearing objects getting thrown around, dropped, or otherwise moving on their own. And when Dark Mystic goes to check what they are, something moves into the doorway as if rolled into place by a ghostly hand. Dark Mystic is certain that something paranormal is toying with him and arms himself. He may be right, but I'm not sure what use a blunt force instrument would be on something not of this world, a being made of shadows that peeks at him from around the door. Boom.
والله خايف أدخل ما كانت هذيك بسم الله.
The door furthest away from both of them shuts all by itself before he gets a chance to investigate. Despite this, Uday Hindi bravely pushes into the next room and discovers she is not a girl, but rather a creepy life-size doll. He roughly handles the doll from room to room and throws it on the floor, and that's when the doll decides it's had enough.
يا إخوان أنا انسحبت من المغامرة مش خوف ولكن أنا تأذيت كثير.
I saw no strings when the doll moved, did you? Anyway, he is busy analyzing some strange and possibly demonic markings on the doll when suddenly this happens. Watch and try and translate what he says shortly before it goes all wrong.
طلعوا يا إخوان حتى الإشي داخلي.
This part I feel like could have been from the way the doll was leaning on the wall before it fell, but the incident before that I feel could be quite real. During an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark, he suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज या कोई जिनों का साया नजर आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो नाजरीन ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नजर आया है, तो ये आवाजें कैसी आ रही है। आए नाजरीन हम हिम्मत करके वहां जाने की कोशिश करते।
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadim. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghosts into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज है। इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश करते हैं।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadim would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. City called Warclaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices.
I can hear you.
And then he heard the remote.
No, anything.
This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them. Rubble on the ground. But in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place. Investigation takes place in an abandoned building in Indonesia. I can't tell what is being said, but you don't need words to tell this person is being relentlessly stalked by something not of this world. First they play some kind of song which I think is meant to summon spirits. A short while later, a shadow person peeks around the corner and appears where his thumb is. If somebody could please translate what is being said here, then maybe it could help us piece together what this video is all about.
Siap lanjut. Kita mau belakangin kamera.
I don't think he noticed anything at first, but this is the exact moment he sees the spirit. Again, please translate if you can, and tell me if you think he sounds sincere or if he is acting.
Itu setengah bukannya. Oh, gimana kalau coba?
The way he turns and bolts without saying a word is very realistic, so I'm inclined to believe this is not a joke. And when he looks again, the ghost is up way high in the left corner.
Oh, Jacob! Oh! Anjing! Goblok kaget!
I think he is losing his mind at this point and he squats in the corner to hide. He thinks he is safe, but the door opens and closes by itself, and a strange mist floats up towards the knob. He runs away and stops to look around, panting, completely out of breath and scared senseless. This faint moan before the video ends makes me think he did not make it out alive.